discussing one of the most common mistakes that a spiritual seeker does while choosing a technique of meditation. The inhaling and exhaling have certain versions, and those versions are so similar to each other that it may sound very close, it may sound very similar, but when you do a deep introspection, each inhalation and exhalation technique involving the yogic practice and the yogic science, this have some sort of, it is inclined and it has a very strong pull. It has a very strong inclination towards the magnetic pull of the vibrations, of the magnetic pull of the aura that connects the inner self to the universe, that connects that life force that is floating within us, that is a form of that cosmic energy, that cosmic intelligence. When you choose a select a particular meditation technique, especially one that involves inhalation and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling, one such technique that when you do in a Sukha asana, that is a pure yogic simple version of meditation. When you choose to inhale and exhale in the form of vipassana, that is you are choosing yourself to become the witness of the breathing practice that you're doing, that is vipassana, and that is completely different to the Sukha asana technique that you've involved. If you choose to say that I am going to inhale and exhale, and with each breath, when you say that universe, that cosmic energy, that supreme consciousness, that almighty is me, that is the Soham Vedanta yogic meditation. And when you do such kind of meditation techniques, they may sound similar, and these similarities become the root cause for the spiritual seeker, for a young aspirant, young in terms of not age, but when you're young in the meditation practice. When you are a young spiritual seeker, and when I say young, it does not involve age. When you're very young at meditation, that means that your experience is not at par with the meditation technique that you are choosing for yourself. You have to be very sure that when you're choosing any meditation practice, especially involve the yogic science taking, the yogic vigyan, that is, you have to be very selective, you have to be very particular about the experience you have, whether or at all you belong to that category to fit into that meditation at this point of time, with the experience that you have, with the aura that you have, with the kind of frequency that you have right now. Are you prepared for it? If not, then there are certain pre-meditation practices that you have to do, that you have to work yourself upon, so that you can make yourself able enough to do a particular meditation practice that belongs to a higher standard, and you are now mentally and physically prepared to conduct yourself in the process of doing that meditation practice. Only then you will get the appropriate results. I am giving this example whenever it is recommended that when you're doing weight management, you are guided and suggested to drink a lot of water. What happens is, to wash away those toxins through the method of drinking water, when you urinate, with your urine, the toxins also passes away. So 10 to 12 glasses of water you drink, and the number of times you go to the washroom, you urinate, those toxins get flushed away. This is how the toxins get flushed out of a physical body. Now when it comes to the cosmic body, when it comes to the cosmic science, it is all about the energy that is acting inside, and now it is the energy is replacing the toxin. In this case, we have to flush out the negative energy. So if you're choosing a meditation practice, especially involving inhaling and exhaling, suppose you're in your kitchen, you have taken out 5 minutes from that kitchen work, or you're in your office, and at your office you have a 10-minute lunch break, and you take out that time to do meditation. You just decide to inhale and exhale, and with the intention that I am going to do a meditation technique, whatever you choose. Now what you are doing is, 5 minutes back then, when you had a presentation, how was that presentation? How did your boss react? How did your colleagues react? And whether or at all you have been able to give your best, and after the lunch break, how is the client going to react? Have you been able to do that project successfully? What you're going to do when you go back home? So these are certain thoughts that's playing at your mind. Worse, if you've had a flight, if you had a very bad journey, if you've had some sort of argument with somebody, if you've had some sort of bad day in any form, if you're having any emotional contact, then worse impact you're going to have, because when you're choosing that lunch break, that thing which you've gone through in the form of emotions is going to play in the minds, in the form of neutrons, in the form of protons. Deep down, when we see, we have to study the magnetic pull and the atoms function, the atoms come at play. Do not allow your mind, do not allow your brain cells to keep playing with you, because they have a tendency, which is very, in Sanskrit they say that they have a very chanchal vritti. Their pravarti is very, what you call is, they are very swift. They cannot sit at one place. They keep jumping, they keep moving. And that is a tendency, that is a way that mind and the brain cells operate, especially when you're going through an emotional turmoil. So you have to be very careful when you're choosing a meditation technique. Are you appropriate for that technique? Is that technique appropriate for you? The spiritual seeker, if he is very young, it means if he is inexperienced, then at that point of time, if he is selecting a particular place to sit on and meditate, is that atmosphere appropriate? The kind of dressing that that spiritual seeker has done, is that dress appropriate? Is that dress comforting that person? Is that dress complementing the meditation? Is that dress suiting the mood of the meditation? When you're sitting in the four walls you're surrounded with, when you choose to do meditation, you have to be sure and you have to introspect whether the wall color is so vibrant that it will complement your meditation session that you're having, or it is going to again create new and heavy energy within you. These are subtle and very small points which a spiritual seeker chooses to ignore, and he reaps consequences accordingly. Just imagine, negative thoughts are already within our mind. We have had a very bad day in our work atmosphere, or we have had a very bad day in our friend circle or in our family, in our house, wherever you are. And at that time you are choosing a particular meditation technique. You want to inhale and exhale, and then you want to meditate and get the appropriate result. At that point of time, what the spiritual seeker is doing is, he is promoting negative energy. He is invoking negative energy. He is channelizing the negative energy into more and more negativity, because those negative thoughts, those negative energy is getting more and more power with your meditation technique. The more and more you inhale and you exhale. This is the subtle difference, and this is exactly why the outcomes are so hampering and so serious when you do it for a longer period of time. How to do the meditation in a right way? First of all, analyze and observe your experience, and then you have to be selective about the meditation technique depending on how old or how young you are. And when I say young and old, it doesn't have to do anything with age, it has to do with the experience. If you are a beginner, I would suggest go with Sukhasana. Simply do not go for any elaborate meditation technique. Do not go for any such spiritual technique which you have heard a lot about and you feel that this can do miracles to me. This is pure science. This has no miracle involved whatsoever. So what the spiritual seeker is recommended, if you are a young and you are very inexperienced spiritual seeker who wants to achieve that heights of spirituality, that calmness, that relaxation, and that appropriate urja you want to attract in that state of mind, you have to just take out half an hour every day, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. Between 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. it will be very good. If you cannot, if you wake up late, at least 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Because you are a beginner. If you're experienced, if you have experienced certain techniques of meditation, then you can choose any hour of the day. Because now your subconscious has gained that experience that can guide you that do this, don't do that. But if you're a beginner, begin with this. Choose a very simple technique. Choose Sukhasana. Just sit down on your meditation mat, 7 a.m. become fresh, get fresh, 6 a.m., 4 a.m., anytime between 4 to 7 a.m. Sit on that mat. Place your left hand side hand in Gyan Mudra, and in the Gyan Mudra, rest your left hand side on your left knee. And what you're going to do with your right hand, take the Anamika, the smallest little finger of your right hand, and place it on your left nostril. Then use your thumb of the right hand and close your right nostril with the thumb. Breathe in from your left nostril. So this is the way you inhale and you exhale just for half an hour. At that point of time, be very clear at your mind that thoughts are going to come. But do not think that I am going to allow it to let it float. Do not say that to yourself. Whereas this is the technique which you have to follow. Thoughts will come in and you have to let the thoughts go on. You have to let the thoughts float. But this is not you are going to think. Why? Because I'm giving you a reason. Whenever I say that, okay, I have thought of night, I'm doing night meditation, my mind will associate all the memories associated with night. Good night, night work, night dream, nightmare, knight in shining armor. However, whatever words we have associated with this word night, our subconscious will give and produce all the words, and not just words, these will produce all the memories, that is the urja, that is the energies associated with this one word. Do not think anything. Do not think that I am going to let the thoughts float. I am nobody. I don't exist. Do not think anything. At that point of time when thoughts are coming, do not think. You have to allow or you have to disallow. Just go with the flow. Just let the thoughts come. Don't tell yourself that I am going to allow the thoughts to float. I have no capacity. I am nothing. I don't exist. This is what has to be in your mind. You are doing nothing. You're merging with the nothingness. Just sit in that posture. Do this exercise for 25 to 30 minutes, and this yogic spiritual practice for beginners. If you are a real serious spiritual seeker who really wants to achieve that state of mind which will elevate you to a position, to a level, to a standard when you can explore new meditation techniques and harbor those kind of results which you were looking for, then do this. Spread 41 days of life-changing course, life-changing experience, no dependency for the slavery thread.